Disco is dead. That's what someone said to me recently. Can you imagine how that went down for me? Because disco might be the most least dead genre of all time. And let's have it right. Disco is house's mother. Mother. Okay? If you dance to techno, house, garage, funk, soul, then you've danced to disco because it lives on through all of those genres. Most people, when they say disco is cheesy, it's because it gets washed with things like ABBA, hen parties, brunch, Bee Gees, Studio 54, and obviously all of those things are fun in their own right, but that ain't the full piece of history. Like anything, it started small, underground, and then eventually the mainstream catches on and they want a little piece. And then everything ends up being commercialised so that it has that appeal to everyone. We see it now with huge corporations that put on like mega raves, you know what I mean? Like, you know, the ones with the massive production, the huge festivals, the ones at mega venues that cost mega money. If we go right back, clubs like the Loft, Paradise Garage, the Gallery, they weren't for everyone. They weren't supposed to appeal to everyone. They were actually built by outsiders, because they weren't welcome anywhere else. It was built out of needing freedom. It was about being yourself. And it was in those spaces you'd hear proper disco. It was created for bodies and movement. If you listen to any of the lyrics, you'll know exactly what I mean. They all told stories of the time. But as it became more mainstream, it got demonized. It became so popular that it was now being hated on because it was rivaling things like rock and punk. And if we have a look at Studio 54, that's how it came about. They wanted to replicate what was going on underground, but for the elites. And don't get it twisted, I would have liked to see what was going down in there, another little shaky with like Diana Ross and that, but that wasn't a true reflection of where it came from. But this happened with the actual sound of disco as well. That's where the Bee Gees come in. And if you have a look at any other artist back then, like that was big at the time, they will have definitely lended their pipes to some disco, whether they released like a disco album, a couple of disco tracks. It was to keep moving with the time. A lot of Philly soul transitioned into disco. The sound is recognisable for its strings, bass line, drums, rhythm sections, and that's why it was built for bodies, because those elements are built for you to shake ass, for movement, and those are the foundations. That's why disco ain't dead, because producers kept building on that, and they still do today. Jocelyn Brown, Loleatta Holloway, Jones Girls, so many more. Women, by the way. Those women shaped everything for us, and they never get enough credit. True pioneers, powerhouses. Those women literally built our dance floor. Naturally, disco transitioned like everything else. It had to. The DJs at Paradise Garage, like Larry Levan, Nicky Siano, and later on Frankie Knuckles, they'd be messing about with records. They'd be stretching them out, really pulling out certain parts of each record, creating longer moments for people to just get lost in, like a bit of a story. Like a night out back then would have been a story from start to end. No one wanted to leave. I'm pretty sure it was Peach Boys, Larry Levan's favourite. I can't remember the name of it. I'm gonna let you. That one. These tracks were like 7 minutes or longer. The foundations was already there. Disco just carried them all. And one thing I find interesting in London, sometimes disco parties or disco events are obviously advertised as disco, but then you get there and there's a lot of house music, a lot of 90s music, or like entry-level disco. It's so much more than that, and that's why I love it so much. It's a shame that it gets advertised in this way, because that's how people digest it, and I feel like it's our responsibility to sort of keep it alive and retell the roots of where it came from and speak about the culture and just how much disco there really is. Tracks that I've not even discovered yet. That fires me up so much to know that there are so many records out there that I still haven't heard. But the history gets mixed up in it all. I do know if you're gonna put on a night, you have to keep everyone's attention, and no one's got a lick of an attention span these days. So what are you gonna do? Probably transition it into some disco edits, house edits. And so I get it. You want to make people dance, you want to keep people's attention, but I don't think they should be advertised as purely like disco nights. You would hear those 90s tracks being played and they would think that that's disco, because why would you think not? You're at a disco event, you know what I mean? There are underground parties that obviously honour disco in that way. They're affordable, they capture the feeling, the community bars. One day I'll have a record shop and you'll come in feeling a bit meh, and you'll leave wanting to boot the door down, genuinely. Like, you ain't gonna leave miserable. I don't know what it's gonna be called, but imagine a fuck off disco ball. Huge, yeah? And we just have disco, funk and soul on rotation all day long. We have decks in there. Don't know why, because I still can't mix properly, but you know, they'll be there. We have a little groove up. We could do it there. If you are new here or you found me on YouTube, you might be a bit like, why is she called Disco Els and she talks about like London and ADHD, but not really about disco? I cover more about disco over on my short form platforms because you can't really share a lot of music over here. That's why I wanted to do this video on how much I love it. It is a massive part of my life. With ADHD as well, like it gives me a lot of dopamine, boots me in both shins when I need it. And so the connection of disco, ADHD, London, it all intertwines, and that's why my username everywhere is Disco at Els, because I want this ultimately to feel like we're having a disco at mine, whether we've got music on or not. Like, I always want music to be a big part of the discussion on air somehow. I feel some kind of responsibility to keep retelling its roots and talking about the culture. We can't lose it to boozy brunches, you know what I mean? Anyway, disco ain't dead, and the next person that says that to me, I wouldn't like to be you. I'm joking. It's the foundation of everything we hear still today, and the only reason that people think it's cheesy is because I just think we've forgotten its roots and what it actually sounds like. But I'm here, don't worry. I'm here to keep retelling it, babes. If you got this far, let me know your favourite disco record so I can stock it in my shop for when you arrive. No, but do tell me in the comments. I love knowing everyone's favourite, if you can even pick one, because mine changes all the time. Or just one that you've got on repeat right now. My one on repeat right now, a little bit of funk. What I got is what you need. Future L, editing L, put that in here. Thanks, darling. If you could like and subscribe, we could make my record shop happen so much sooner. The sooner the better, so we can be shaking ass together, you know? Like, what fun. See you next week, Mirror Divas.